Good morning everyone, welcome back to my channel. So finally I get back to my French garden. I've been busy working on the splash of colour, embroidering those flowers around the beehive, and I've finally got it finished and it's put to one side. So now I can spend the rest of my time working on the prompt for this piece. And I think I mentioned it in the previous video, I've been thinking about this Scarecrow. And I've been a little bit cautious about him because is he French enough? Is he elegant enough? I'll bring him up to the camera. This is the little pattern I've got. Many years ago, I made a quilt, and all through the quilt I appliqued in images from my farm life. And this pattern sort of kicked it all off. There was probably about 25 images in total. It was for a king-size bed from memory. And I was just looking at the back here, 1998. So it's from a lady in New Zealand. I'm not sure if that shop's still going, being that it's a sewing machine based sewing store. Maybe it is. So there you go. That's my snowman. Snowman, for goodness sakes. I'm working on orders for my work and I was looking at snowman literally 5 minutes ago. So if I say snowman 20 times, that sort of explains the logic. Scarecrow. Now in the pattern, he's a full A4 page. He's too big. Let's put the pumpkins aside for a minute. So I sort of started working on reducing him down, and he went to 50% and he was too small, 85% too big. Then I went to 70% and I think that's where we want to be. So I've got my size. Now the other thing I wanted to do is incorporate some pumpkins around him, because my idea before I was even going to do him was just to work some pumpkins in here and up that side with the vine. And I thought, well, what's then going to go here? Maybe I should start thinking about creeping up a little bit. So that's when I was like, yeah, I need the Scarecrow. Now that I'm happy with his size, I think he'll work. Now these pumpkins, I typed into the system, into the computer, free pumpkin templates applique, and this is what came up. So I did, once again, a couple different sizes because I just wasn't sure how big or how small, how exaggerated or not I wanted them. And the other thing I also did the same was some templates for some leaves. So I think they're pretty good. I love this big one. It may even be really exaggerated and then do a little one. But the first thing is to work out where's the lad going. Whether he comes in close to the fence and then the pumpkins sit around his base and then the vine can creep up the red here or out to the actual perimeter. I'm not sure. But anyway, we have a plan. So the next few videos will be just, working on that. I've decided I'm going to actually use some steam and sew to fuse the pieces of our fabric that we choose for our Scarecrow to the background. The reason why is this little guy has so many little intricate pieces. If he was a little bit bigger and not so fussy, I'd give it a go just with pins and just stitch it down, because I do like that rough sort of look. But being that there's a little bit of mucking around going on in around his neck and his scarf, I think I'm going to use this product here. Now, if you're not familiar with it, what it is pretty much a glue that allows you to adhere fabric, those dogs, fabric to fabric. You can see in there's like a thin layer. It's sort of sticky but not. So you can draw on the paper, cut your piece out and then iron it into position. So that's the plan. So I've got myself a piece of this out, and let's begin. So fabric. All right, so I went digging in the big farm type color box that I had of scraps from when I was doing all these farm appliques, and I've just pulled out a few pieces of interest, and it's now just a case of deciding which one I want to go with. So I've got chocolates and some reds. That was a fabric I had from many years ago. I actually think that came out of my childhood cupboard. I'd forgotten it was in there, and when I saw it I was like, oh, memories. I remember looking at that as a kid, whether I had some pants made out of it or a shirt, or Mum made something for the home out of it. I'm not sure. Don't really know. But I'm wondering if the print, like, I'd love to include it, but is the print too big for the size of him? So I'm sort of not sure if that's actually the right. Colours are amazing for it. But will we see the hearts properly? You know, will he? Yeah, I sort of feel like the print's a bit big. It would have been lovely to use it. That's all good. I'll pull it out of the scrap bucket anyway and put it in my drawer with proper pieces, bigger pieces of fabric. Those are sort of pulled out maybe as a contrast. I did rustle around and find some pumpkin leaves and pumpkin sort of colours as well. But that to me felt like it could be a scarf or something, just to break it up. There was one in particular that I thought was pretty good. I thought the browns could maybe be his hat. This check here, make that, sort of need to look at the whole thing, make that his shirt, and then maybe that is scarf, so it sort of pops a little bit. Let's see. Let's get started. Oh, the other thing I want to do is to French him up a little bit so he sort of matches my piece. The straw around the place, I want to use some tatting as his little strawy bits, just so he feels a little bit more in keeping with my piece. Yeah, that'll work. Size-wise, it'll work. We'll be able to even pop a bit under his hat just to give him a bit of lace. All right. If that's his shirt, yeah. Let's draw. Let's sketch out his shirt. Let's get that done. Which side do I draw and which side do I iron? Oh, I haven't used this stuff for years. Let's have a look. There are some instructions here. The grid aids the tracing. It's easy to see through and write on. So if that's the case, I'm going to say the grid is up. Something's upsetting Bandit. So I don't know how much we'll get done in the video, but there'll be consecutive videos as we work on this little guy, waiting for our next prompt. Come on, pen, surely you're not going to fail on me. As long as it gets a bit of a line. Just looking at where this all goes. So how did she do that? That lapel, does that turn over or is that extra sitting on top? Must be extra. It's a collar sitting around the jacket. Where's the pattern? I think I just need to focus on getting the jacket underneath shape. Yeah, and then slide that over and get then the jacket coming underneath. And then I'll do the collar. So I'm going off. Where am I going there? It's quite tricky in there. So she's gone. I actually need to come in wider. Looks like this one is through here. I don't know if that's actually right. It's a bit unusual through there. Well, I guess we're about to find out. Okay, I think that will work. I'll just do this first. I just want to make sure that we're on the right track and, of course, that it's the right colour. Now, we should be able to flip that over, iron that on, peel it off, flip it back, and we should be on our way. Let me just plug my little iron in. That's heating up. So yeah, I think that's going to work. Now we could work on the post. Maybe we make the post this brown. So let's sketch. Being that my what do you call it? My straw is going to be lace. I'm going to need to extend that post right up, I think, because the straw is sort of tucking out from under his shirt. Well, we're going to see the background fabric, and we can't. We've got to see the post. So I'm just extending him a little. I think that's correct. And that'll just tuck right up into that jacket. We'll do his lapels here whenever. I just want to have a look at this collar. It's quite a tricky little piece. But there's a piece in behind his. Let's maybe get that out first. It's the piece of his neck in the background here. We're going to need that little piece. It'll tuck up under his head. That sort of gets his throat. So that'll go down fairly early in the piece too, because it'll be right at the very back. Now his actual lapel. We can make that. This pen is really not enjoying drawing on that. I can't use a heat soluble pen because that won't work for a million reasons. Okay, what was I doing? Just having a play with this lapel. Or his collar. Go up under his head a little bit. a very bodgy drawing. That's all right, it'll straighten up with scissors. Now we've got this scarf, which I think could be broken down into a couple little segments, that round bit to make it look like a knot. Then we've got these little scarf-like bits. Like my terminology? Scarf-like bits. Okay. So I'm just trim away the excess. I do believe, bar the hat. We'll come back to the hat. Okay. So we definitely decided we're going to use this as the coat. So now it's just a case of ironing. But we need to remove the protective paper. Gosh, it feels like a million years since I've done this. There it goes. That's that slightly sticky. And it shouldn't take much to fuse that together. You sort of don't want to overdo it either. Just let that dry. And that can go in the bin. And then we peel that off. We trim it first, peel it off and place it down. So what I'm going to use for his neck, so we need a fabric that can sneak in behind. I might do the little bit of gold, I think. So now we've got to turn that over. That onto there. Hope I'm doing this right. If not, you'll be all yelling at me going, no, you've got it wrong. I think so. Doesn't matter. It's only fabric we can. That'll be his little neck piece. Now, the post. I was pretty sure I was going to use this chocolate, so we turn it over, take off that fabric. I like to talk it through because not only hearing myself say it, I might pick up that I'm saying something wrong. And it's a benefit to you guys, then you'll know what the hang I'm thinking. Does make it easy. Like we'd be cutting and pinning and, you know, when it's an intricate design, sometimes you just have to make life easy on yourself and use some of these products. It will make it harder for me to push the needle through. It stops it from fraying. So there's lots of benefits. Okay. Now his collar. I'm just going to flip that over. What are we going to make his lapel? I think that needs to be his scarf. So maybe we cut that out first because I sort of think we need that pop of colour around his neck. So I'm going to flip it over. And if I can sneak it in there, like we're being miserly. Yeah. We can just get it there. I used to love doing this. It was quite fun piecing together all the fabrics. Okay, now his collar. I think it could be something quite bright. Something that pops a little bit. And then you'd have the red scarf. That's a bit too blendy. Well, it's blendy in the other way. And then you'd have that. I sort of don't mind that. This doesn't look right. Too blendy. I'm thinking this. It's there, but it's... I don't know what I'm thinking. Don't even know if I'm speaking sense here. Don't lose my pieces. So we flip it, take the back off, and iron it. I had a couple messages from people wanting to know what this grey, that's just a waste of space there, what the grey mat is I'm using. It's technically an ironing mat. It's a wool ironing mat. So it saves you pulling out your ironing board in your craft room, but it makes a fantastic surface to embroider on. I find it handy when I'm sitting in the couch. It allows it to balance on my knee and gives me quite a firm surface that I can put pins into. Beads don't roll around when they go onto it. I hope I haven't jiggered that up because I'm now yibby-yabbering. Now, I believe I got mine from Amazon, but if you type in wool pressing mat, you will find them popping up everywhere. I know some of my local fabric stores are getting them into stock as well. So it'd be great if you find them locally. Nothing like supporting a small business. Okay, I think we have all of our elements. We haven't done his face. Oh gosh, what are we going to use for his face? I need something pale. What have we got here? It's advertising. That's no good. Real soft, creamy colour. Here we go. That will do. Let's get his little head done next. Give it take a bit. On a roll now. Let's move all our elements out of the way. Flip it over. Iron it down. Okay, the hat. Oh, hang on. Concentrate. I didn't take the backing paper off. Have I now glued? I've activated the glue. Yeah, I have. There you go. I didn't take the backing paper off. The heat's activated the glue, and now look, it has stuck. So there you go. I wasn't watching. Let's have another go at that. I knew I was getting too smart. It's like, this is going well, Corrine. Hooting along here. Okay, while we're here, we may as well trace this hat out. So it's got the main part. Then they've tucked in the underneath of the hat as well, which we could probably do as a second colour, a little bit darker. Okay. Let's get this face sorted first. Flip it over, take the paper off. Give it an iron. Now we're cooking again. That's his little little face. Probably should have been the same colour as his chest, but we're going to pretend this goldy fabric. We're going to pretend he's got a shirt on first. That's the gold. So we don't need that. That can go. His hat. Now I was thinking along the lines of this fabric. And then maybe the under part could be that, like the shadow. I think that'll look complementary. So that. Paper's falling off of that already. Okay, flip it over. How are we going for time? 26 minutes. Oh, I didn't. Oh my goodness. You know what I did? I didn't separate the paper. I did it again. Okay. It's because I once again looked at the time, took my eye off the game. It's all good. Okay. Take the paper off, Corrine. Have I got that right? I think so. It's a wonder I haven't burnt myself. I've got this little iron sitting here. Don't say it out loud. It could happen. Okay, so that's done. Let's get the little shadow flip 'em paper off. I reckon by now you're looking at screen going, flip 'em paper off, iron it, Corrine. What am I doing? I've taken the wrong paper off somewhere. Yeah. Oh my goodness. I've taken the wrong paper off and I've put it in the bin. Where's that little bit? Can I just draw it without the paper? Which side did I just jigger up? Oh, the exhaustion of it all. I think that's that one there. I think if I... Oh, I don't know if I've got this right. Now it's stuck to the pattern. Oh my gosh. Let's just get this ironed down. Oh my goodness me. I might have to redo that little one. I'm just not sure if I've got the right shape because of flipping things and reversing things and oh dear, whatever. It's a minute part of him. So the other thing we haven't done yet is his band. So if his hat's brown, maybe we make his band a nice red. So let's get that drawn. That'll help it pop a little. Fabric, flip it, iron it. Can't be that hard. Oh, I didn't take the paper off. Seriously? Welcome to my craft room today. I started thinking again. Draw it. cut it out. Take the paper off, the right paper, the one at the very back. Flip the fabric. Apply heat. See, it's simple when you say it out loud, isn't it? Thank goodness this is not a complicated piece. All right. We have finished our bits. The only thing I haven't done is these lapels down here, but I might leave that. I'm thinking it'll be this red, being that it's on his hat, just to drag the colours down. Let's make sure the iron is not melting anything it shouldn't. Right, this is dangerous. Let's have a look. Let's start with cutting out the post. So now we can just trim the pieces so that they're at their true and final shape. Not convinced I got my pattern right around his neck. Got a bit complicated there. So we should be able to remove this paper for good now, revealing the other side of the glue on the paper. So it's got a tiny little bit of tackiness to it. I don't know where we're going to put him, but anyway, we'll start with there. Let's get his jacket out next. I'm just going to cut a little bit bigger than I need in case I've not traced that correctly. I think I got it, but I want it to meet up correctly. Mind you, it's a Scarecrow, like their clothes never really fits. One side, the other side. This will tell me if I've got my pattern the right way round. I guess then I've got to stop the video and start again. And you'll never know that I had all of those little stuff-ups. Or I just leave it and then you'll see I stuff up too. It's half the fun of it. Okay. Yeah, that looks like it's going to work. Oh, he's going to be a dapper fellow, isn't he? We'll soon see when that collar goes on. There's no fudging an incorrect collar. There isn't when you make a jacket either. I don't know if that's in the right spot, but we'll start there. Oh, how cute. Seriously, how cute. I'll need to get some, just trying to get my fingernail in there to separate. We'll need to get some tatting in. Oh, you gorgeous little thing. All right, let's get this neck in position because that goes underneath the jacket. It's like the background. Just going to cut it a little bit bigger. Can't hurt. What's banded? They're funny because at night my two dogs are in an area that we've created like a temporary fencing around, so it's still quite large. That's part of the patio that has the roof, and then the where they can go to the toilet during the night if the need be, they can access as well. So in the morning when they're let out, it is like off to explore the back of the block. And we have possums and bandicoots and all sorts of little critters that come out at night, hence why I lock them up too. The last thing I want is them hunting, especially Pepper. She's a bit of a hunter. We noticed very quickly when she was a pup that she was harassing green frogs, which is not good. So I was hearing this squealing sound for a few nights, and I was like, what is it? You know, what's she doing? Because my parents' farm, the dogs were very rarely locked up at night. The odd one that would roam. So Mum and Dad had like an old outhouse building thing that was converted into a bit of a dog kennel. It was pretty big actually, quite luxurious for them. Some dogs roam, some dogs don't. But Pepper very quickly showed us that she was very interested in green frogs. And the one night I looked out into her bed and she was sound asleep and she had a green frog sitting on her shoulder. So she'd gathered him up and had taken him to bed. And she was asleep, sound asleep, with this bloomin' frog on her shoulder. And I was like, no, that's no good. So then I twigged what that squealing was. It was her gathering him and taking him to bed. So I thought, no, that's got to stop. So we went out and bought some temporary fencing to create an additional fenced area that was encompassing of this patio and a pebbled area. And we sort of used the wall of the house. Our bedroom's right there too, which was perfect because she was then sleeping right next door to us. Just through the glass window, she could see us, or the glass sliding door. So it was perfect scenario, and I knew she was safe. And it was all, well, I knew the frogs were safe. So now when they get out of a morning, they're straight off and they're exploring what's been going on for the night. You know, there's probably been possums moving through the area, doing what they do of an evening because they're nocturnal. So that collar is going to work. So the pair of them, as soon as they've had their breakfast, they're straight down to the back, and we've got all these big gum trees. And they're funny to watch because they go to certain gum trees and they sniff around them, and then they'll be off following a trail. So we've got quite a few big lizards down there, and it's all sorts. We're only on an acre block, but it was an existing farm with existing trees. So the wildlife has been here some time, I'd say. Get the odd goanna go through between all the house blocks. And then right behind us is a farm that has some sheep, just a hobby farm. I think they've got about, 5-10 acres maybe. And then to the rear of them, but it's not really behind us, it's more like behind our neighbour, they've got goats. So is that they're on the wrong way? That one's not right. How can that not be right? Can I make it right? I can make it right. Does that look weird? Does a little, doesn't it? So how did I not get that? Okay, hang on. Hold the phone. This one goes over here. So I was talking once again. It's a problem. I don't even know where I was heading with this story. That's why they're woofing. They're goosing around out there on the hunt of different scents. So that's not right. Or is it? Yeah, it is. So it's got a bit of a curved shape going on there. It doesn't look right. I've lost that nice sweepy edge. I think when I've flipped it, I've reversed something here. That's okay because I think I can just trim it. I do like that sharp sharp line. So I'm going to try and create that. Something's gone pear-shaped, but that's all right. Look, at the end of the day, it's a scarecrow. I wonder if I can just give that a little trim there. Here we go. Now we've got the creative side kicking in. And we're going to modify. This is the dressmaker coming out in me. Not that I'm a dressmaker. There we go. That's pretty good. Look, no one will know. Then his little head can come on here. But then when we got to get underneath that collar, his little green sash. Did I finish my pepper story? I think I did. Bandit, on the other hand, he's not so interested in hunting at night. He just sits, watches and listens. He's really gone into the guarding side of things, which is the Aussie shepherd. Their history is hanging out with a flock of sheep and the shepherd and watching for predators through the night. So they can be a little bit nocturnal, Aussie shepherds. I know my previous one was. He'd be up all night just sitting. I'd see him in the moonlight with his back to our bedroom and just watching and listening, which is sort of how I understand their breed to be. They're not so much herding the sheep like a border collie or a kelpie or, you know, those herding dogs. They're more of guarding against a predator. And Bandit is very much like that. Where Pepper, I think as the Aussie shepherd sort of came into modern world of sheep herding and cattle, it was bred with other herding dogs to get that element. And I have a feeling that Pepper is a herder in the sense because she's looking for green frogs, looking for lizards. She's following butterflies. Where Bandit, you'd think he was a bit lazy because he's sort of just sitting around watching the whole world go by. So I sort of think he's probably more true to the original. I feel like I'm going to trim that collar back a little bit because I want to see the, there they go. I think there's walkers in the street. They're walking their puppy dogs, so I can hear dogs in the distance announcing that there's a walker coming. So I don't know how I got that collar so wrong. I have to watch the video back to see. Yeah, I'm doing it in reverse. I don't know. Oh well. I somehow managed to reverse the whole thing. It's all good. It is going to work. Oh, you dapper fellow. So I'm just tucking that underneath there. His little scarf could be a lighter colour, but I think it'll be all right. Now the question is, have I got it in the right spot? Because once you've got everything laid out, you then apply the iron and it just glues to the background. It's looking pretty good. I don't think I'm going to fuss too much because at the end of the day, I've got plenty of room. Okay, so before I go too much further, I'm going to tuck in these pieces of lace so that they're caught under there. Quite exaggerated, aren't they? But they'll be fine. give him a bit of swagger. Oh, pretty, pretty. That one needs to be trimmed just a little bit. There we go for time. 15 minutes. I reckon we will just get him laid down. Let's get this hat. I bet those little bits underneath the hat are going to be all out of whack due to my inability to get this design exactly to the pattern. I must have flipped it and drew the wrong side. The paper must have been what went wrong. Who knows? Who knows? So we need that little piece. I'll cut them just a little bit bigger, just in case I've really got them wrong. Now, these little bits actually tuck in under the head. Let's take a punt that one goes this side. I just want to see a little bit more underneath his chin there of the colour. Okay, let's get this one under here. And let's see if this hat will fit. Oh, it does. Oh my goodness. Now I do want a bit of tatting up here. So let's see if we can nibble out just a little bit of this. So I don't want it to hold its integrity, but give us the impression that he's got tatting up there as well. Let's just lift that edge, slide that in. Yep, that's going to work. And let's see if we can, I don't know if that's the right shape, but anyway, let's get that little piece in there, like that. I need to trim that because that's not going to be sticking out of that section of the hat. Oh, this is fiddly. Why do we do this to ourselves? Why do we come up with these bright ideas? I'm watching some of your garden beds and the embroidery that you guys need to do, the Sarah's scenario where you've done lots of patches and you're filling it full of the different vegetables. Oh boy, there's some work in that, guys. A lot of work. It's going to be stunning. Like, oh, some of them are coming together now and yeah. Okay. Why is there a white line on that? Oh, yeah. Just got to peel that off. And I'd say I'll need to trim it a little bit, but we'll be able to do that, I think, like so. There's his little hat. You probably can't see that. It's a little bit blendy, but it looks better in real life. So the only thing left to do is his little lapels. These here. Okay. Let's see if I can get this right without jiggering it up. What are we going to do for his lapels on his shirt? They should really be the matching fabric to his collar, one would say. If we want to, you know, be true to the creation. But I sort of feel like I could lift his shirt a little bit by... All right, Corrine, concentrate. Take that off. Flip it. Iron it. See, I pulled it off. The fact that my pen marks nearly disappeared. Probably could have embroidered that on too. I probably didn't need to. Okay, so what I might do is I'm going to, I think, get him stitched down. And I'll just use a fine sewing machine thread, I think. I don't think I want to make him too chunky looking. I guess I'll know when I start. See, that's technically supposed to go over there. You must iron it onto the front of the fabric. That's what I'm doing wrong. You iron to the front, you don't flip the fabric over, because in the flipping of the fabric, you're making it backwards. That's where I went wrong. Oh well, he still worked. I don't know how, we pulled it off. There is a bit of grass-like here. And I do need to get some tatting up under his jacket there. So let's get that tatting and see. Do we need a whole piece? Could I get away with that? That's a corner from the doily. So that might actually work. It's got a bit of a triangular shape about it. That's where the doily came along, did a corner and took off in the other direction. So let's get in under here with this. Yep. Oh, I love him. I love him, even if he is backwards. Is he in the right spot? Yeah. Oh, I think he is great. Yeah, I'm happy with that. What do you guys think? I think he's good. So let's just get our scrap bit of iron-on webbing. Mental note, you don't flip your fabric. You just trace your image and just go straight to it. Yeah. Do I want some doilies popping out from behind him? I've got to remember that before we lay down everything, you sort of just need to have a quick think about the background, because once things like this are down, you can't can't get in behind here again unless you sort of cut the doily down to, I sort of feel like I need to just tuck something in there, just to, or do I? Like I'm not. Probably should, but maybe I should get a flower coming up there. Let's just have a fiddle with this piece, sort of blending him into this scene. Otherwise he will look a little bit like he's just plopped there. So before I get him down, as in glued down, I just want to make sure that I don't need to consider I'll just trim the one leaf off first. Don't know. That's lace from the bottom of a little blouse that I picked up somewhere in an op shop. That's a bit better. Yeah, it's just going to help bring the two designs together, I think. That layered look. I'm not too worried about this side because the pumpkin patch will start and it'll be a case of see if the pumpkins need a bit of a background treatment as well, but I think we better get that down just so we know our boundaries, and I will iron his shoulder to that doily bit. Don't think I need that. Okay, I think we're ready. We're ready to go. Do we do it? I can see where I need to push that up just a little bit. There's a funny blue thread there. I can see it's, there we go. That's good. His face is good, his collar's good. This is it. Done. He's forever in his home. I'll have to put a pin over there to support that shoulder. It's a bit not typical when you're appliquing these types of pieces into position and then you have these chunky bits of crocheting doilies everywhere. So I do need to support that with a couple pins until I can get down that edge. And same for the tatting. I might just pop a couple pins just to help everything just stay. Just like that. And then a little bit more heat around that neck because there's a lot of elements just in that zone. So I just want to make sure he's nice and secure. Very good. And I'll just pin this guy. And I think we're there. Bar a few mishaps and a few learnings, we figured it out. There we go. Okay, needs a bit of heat in that center just to get that glue that's, you know, 2 or 3 layers down nicely adhered. It's a great little product. It will be firm to stitch through, but you need to take that into account. If you've got hands that, you know, are a little weary and maybe a little bit of arthritis coming in them, you'll find that you'll really need to push down to get that to be secure. Okay, I'm happy with that. I might just zoom in. So I'm just going to do an overcast stitch on that so you can get a nice close-up of our lad. There you go. Isn't he cute? I love the, oops, look at it's wobbling. Sorry, guys. I love the tatting. That's really just brought him into, you know, our world that we're creating here. He's a real Frenchman now. Look at that. All right, guys. I will leave you alone. I'll go and stitch this all down. And in the next video, we'll have a play with these pumpkins and try and work out how we're going to do this vine garden veggie patch. Vegetable patch will sort of come across the side here. All right, excellent. Thank you very much and have a lovely day and enjoy your stitching. Bye for now.